And let me share. Hold on a second. I've had vertigo all week, so things are jumping around a little bit for me. It's kind of weird. Okay. You, Mr. Sergeant at Arms, you've got it.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And
Lance is on. How come Lance is on?
Let's have that screen.
maybe his internet's not down. Our outages are different.
What
He's
happened?
not on Chromecast.
Oh, you got the four-way test, David?
He's on the old one.
The four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
Is it the
Is it
truth?
truth?
second,
Is
Is
it
it
fair to
fair to
all
all
concerned?
Yes.
third,
Will it
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Friendships.
fourth,
That's the right one.
Is it
Is it
beneficial?
beneficial to all
all
concerned.
fifth,
Is
Is
it
it
fun?
fun?
Fun.
and sixth.
Arr.
Arg.
AD.
Fit through there.
All right.
Oh, it goes this way. Go through the back. I got the right one.
Somebody's talking.
Hey, it's Tracy.
Oh, Tracy.
They're putting
Tracy,
some
I'm gonna mute
together.
her. I
What are
muted
you putting
Tracy.
together? Okay.
Okay. Eileen, thought of the day, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. This comes from Albert Einstein. In the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity.
Pause for effect.
Awesome.
Look at everybody's reflective faces. That is so outstanding. Thanks, Eileen, for continuously providing us those thought-provoking messages. I love those. I live for them on a Friday. We do have a guest today. He's our speaker, Mr. Gary Carrier. You can see him on the screen. I'm going to have Kyle introduce him today because he and Kyle both went to Marysville, graduated from Marysville Pilchuck High School together. So good job, Tomahawks. Are they going to have to change they're not going to change their mascot, are they, now that they've passed the law?
Not that I understand, they're probably not, because you never know.
Yeah. Well, I just remember when I was there, the tribe celebrated the mascot, and we're very proud of it. So I was hoping that wouldn't change.
But I think they put so much money into the schools and the fields and everything there that I don't think that's because it's more, they're not necessarily going toward a specific person or name after. I mean, they're going after Tomahawks. So, I mean, it's nothing that's really going toward them. So and they love it. So it gives
Yeah.
them.
Does this mean that we can ask to pay Gary to get some dirt on Kyle or good information on Kyle?
I doubt you'd even have to pay him.
Gary,
We'll start the bidding. We'll start the bidding process now.
hey, Gary, you
Which
can
one?
pretend you're with the media and just make it up.
There's Nancy O'Brien again.
There's Nancy. Right on time, Nancy. Good job.
Morning.
Morning to you. Top of the morning. So
Top of the morning to you.
last week we had a birthday celebration for Sam Samano, and Sam forgot to show up to her own birthday celebration, but we were able to sing happy birthday anyway. I don't think any of us want to repeat a performance of that spectacle, but if you really want to see it and hear it, which is the most important part, of course, you can access last week's Zoom meeting for Rotary on the YouTube. And I don't know if anybody's been going to those, but it's you can fast forward and go to bits and pieces and see stuff, so you don't have to sit through the whole meeting to listen to us sing happy birthday to Sam. But it definitely was the highlight of the meeting. So Sam's birthday was 4/19. We do have a birthday coming up next week. Mayor Brett Gailey on the 27th. Brett, I'm sure, will be 39 again. Is he on the meeting today?
I don't see him.
Okay. Well, we were going to give him a virtual spanking, but I guess he's not here, so we won't do that. Spouse birthdays. So Gary, you've got a birthday coming up for your wife, Bev. What'd you get her? Big
Nothing
party?
yet. Nothing, working on it.
Well, you don't want to be last minute Larry. Let's get going.
No, I'm planning her birthday, so that's taken precedent.
There you go. And then
Larry, if
Carrie-
I were you, I would take offense to that remark.
Yeah.
I muted Larry before he can
No
answer.
defense. Yeah, I understand.
Carrie Morehouse's birthday is coming up on the 28th. So don't forget that, Lance. No marriage anniversaries, no Rotary anniversaries coming up. So we move on to Secretary's report. Gary.
Just the only thing I have is just another reminder of our next board meeting is on May 13th. That's it.
And Chris with the treasurer's report.
Yes, the report is everything looks good. Thanks everybody for the happy bucks that are coming in. That seems to be a steady flow. The community appreciates that, and so does the club. And that's it.
Moving on to my report then. Thanks, Chris. Moving on to my
Yeah.
report. Just remember that we are starting to plan and target the 14th of May for a hybrid meeting, so that we'll have the opportunity to attend in person downstairs at the district office here in room A. And then also we'll have, for that meeting, we'll have the ability to join virtually as well. We're planning that right now. So I just had some things come up, but I'm hoping that we can still pull that off. So just know that that's in the planning stages, and we're going to continue to work on that. I've been talking to our tech folks, and we believe that we can pull that off. So just so you know, that's coming up. Also wanted to let people know that the Rotary Club of Marysville is holding their Roaring 20s auction, and I think this is the afternoon club in Marysville. So Christina Trader is the president of that club, and in the chat I put the email of how you register for their online virtual auction. So if you go to the chat, it says auction at hightechsolutions.com. And then I also put in there a link to their kind of their advertisement for, well, actually, no, it's a link to their email that has the advertisement in it. But you may not be able to access that. So when you click on that, it may ask me for permission, and I'll send you permission. But let me show you that right now.
It'll come.
Okay.
And it just opens up an email. It doesn't
Yeah.
actually do anything.
And then with the email is an attachment, but let me show you the attachment so that you can see what it's going to look like. Everybody see that? And if you want to take a picture of that, I'll leave that up for a little while. But that, you can see the details of the online auction. Starts on 4/26. Registration can start now, and you register through the email link that I sent you in the chat. It's also in the email. And then you can see that if you register by April 20th, which that ship has already sailed, you could have won a drawing. But still time to register for the actual online auction. Okay. The live auction is the Friday, the April 30th, and that starts at 6 if you want to join that. But then, you know, similar to the auction that we have, there is an auction that you can access from your video device or computer. Okay, I'll stop sharing. Everybody got that?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, and that constitutes my report.
That's a big word.
What constitutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very verbose today for whatever reason. Is Lori on for past president's report? I didn't see her.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Okay, so no past president's report. And Rochelle, president-elect, is she here?
Nope.
I didn't want to hear from her anyway.
She's
Okay.
probably out on her new boat.
Uh-oh. New boat. It's going to rain today. Who'd go out today?
I think they're supposed to pick it up either yesterday or today.
Maybe they'll park it in their driveway and live on it. That'd be cool. All right. So committee reports, club services. Keith, are you here?
I am.
And you know what you have to start with.
Had a little breakfast scramble this morning. It was delicious.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I thought of you, though, so does that count for something?
Well, yeah, kind of a disturbing. It counts as disturbing, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
okay. Nothing much to report, just still working through trying to get the cohort thing solved. So again, I sent an email out yesterday, but if anybody else wants to be involved in any of the planning of that, let me know and I'll include you in the emails.
Thanks, Keith. And have you set a meeting date yet?
I have not. I sent the email, but we don't have a meeting date. I was waiting to get a little bit of feedback first.
Okay, perfect.
When you set that, if you want somebody like a Dave Duskin or a Dennis Boyd from the district who probably have some ideas on other clubs, what they're doing, I could always make contact and see if they would be willing to be on our call.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And community services, Eileen Laboring, ladies and
Yes,
gentlemen.
sir. Thank you. So we are planning a street cleanup for, after talking with Kristen and Jim, for 16th Street and North Cove Park on June 12th. So it'll give us time to also include the Interact kids. We haven't, I will push out the information through Club Runner. And then once I figure out where we're going to park, I will share that as well. But June 12th is the date, and we're excited because the Interact kids will be there too. So that's what I have.
Awesome, Eileen. Thank you. Could you put, just as a reminder, put that in the chat, that information?
Sure.
Just so people have access to it. Thank you. And we move on to membership. Ron.
We're all good.
All of us?
All of us. I apologize because I forgot my computer. I'm over east, forgot my computer, so I'm doing it all the David Johnson. So you'll see like a lot of this, a lot of this, a lot of this, maybe a couple up no shots, but so I'll keep it short.
What are you trying to say? Huh? What are you trying to say?
You know, I've had vertigo all week, guys, and that is not helping at all.
I thought maybe it would like correct things.
Maybe it will. All right, international, Tracy.
So Tracy had to get off her internet. It was out and she tried to join by phone and it wasn't working for her. So she sent me, IPA is headed back to Honduras on the 28th. Thank you, Don and Eve, for sending a card and a small gift to their student. More trips to follow this year. There's Tracy's report.
I'm waiting for the day that Tracy joins the meeting while she's fixing somebody's teeth. That's what I want to have happen. All right. Interact, Kristen.
So we did not have a meeting this week. Everybody's just trying to get a little bit acclimated to the new schedule. But we are planning to clean up 113th on May 22nd, and we'd love for you to join us again. And our Yale people participated again last night. I got to listen to part of the presentation, and it is phenomenal. It is amazing. So I'm so glad that we have 4 amazing leaders participating. So thank you.
Thanks, Kristen. Vocational, Lance.
All right, well, scoring time of year. All you judges, how's that scoring going?
Good.
All right. I'm starting to get a few of the scoring sheets back, so that's good. That helps me because I put everyone's individual scoring into a master scoring sheet. So that's what we're doing right now. We did end up getting a few more last minute scholarship requests before our second deadline last Friday. So we ended up with 14 college-bound scholarships and 2 vocational, although one of the vocational students, I received an initial email, and between Kim LaFortune and I, we have not been able to be in touch with her since then. So I do not have any information to send from her, which is a little disappointing because we only got 2 vocational applicants. So with that, vocational committee, watch for an email today. I'll probably do it before the end of the meeting or at the end of the meeting for a meeting next week, Tuesday, April 27th at 4 o'clock. We'll kind of go through some of the scoring and choose who we want to interview. So that's my report.
Thanks, Lance. And we don't have Rochelle here for public relations or Jim for foundation, just a little bit too early for Jim.
He's
And
coming back next Wednesday.
next Wednesday?
Yeah,
Well, that's too bad for him, but good for us.
yeah.
Are there any other business announcements for today before we hand it over to the fleecer in chief?
Estimated 240 million calls are made to 911 in the U.S. each year. You may never
the
have
heck?
to call 911, but
Chief Dyer.
I thought I was about ready to call 911, but I forgot the number. Anyway, David, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Sergeant at Arms,
Yes, sir.
fundraising time.
All righty. Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning, David.
How's everybody doing on this Friday?
Great.
Awesome.
Excellent. Well, let's see here. How much time was our speaker like?
Gary, you probably need the full half an hour, don't you? Gary,
He needs it all. He
20,
needs
30
40
minutes.
minutes, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll keep it on the brief side. Let's see. Well, of course, we'll have to start off finding Sam.
I was already going to say, I will provide $10 for missing last Friday
Yeah, skipping
and
out
missing
on
your
own
beautiful
birthday.
voices for my and the birthdays of April benefits.
Thank
So-
you so much.
You're welcome.
Let's see. Ken, I'm going to have to find you.
Of course you are. Why?
Well, you insulted Larry, but I thought it could have been a stronger insult.
I was going to say, I thought I'd get a rebate, but I guess not.
No. But hey, at least your fine is less than it would have been otherwise.
That is
Cliff,
that is
what
an
kind of
easy
fine do you
target.
think Ken should pay for this?
What's that?
What kind of fine should you pay?
Well, I think somewhere between $1 and $5. I'll
Okay.
let you decide.
No, the first member who calls one out, that's the fine.
$1.
5.
Darn.
Thanks, Chief Dyer.
I expect you to return the favor soon.
Okay.
I detect collusion somehow.
As soon as he says chief, I'm muting him.
Okay, now it's $5.
All right. There was Gary.
You're picking on our visitor.
No, I'm picking on you, buddy. For not having gotten your wife a present yet. That's fine number one.
Hey,
Fine
I'm
number
her
two,
present.
It's trying to deflect the responsibility for that offense by claiming that you're working on how you're going to celebrate. So what that tells me, the fact that you're still working on it means that you haven't concluded the plan.
Well, I have.
So, well, what is it?
It's a birthday party. On Sunday with all the family.
I see.
Did anybody here get an invitation to that? Extended road.
No.
Did we get an
No,
invitation to
no.
Bev's party?
So, how are we to know
Thanks, Ken.
that this does not violate one of the tenets of the four-way test?
Is it the truth?
There you go. So anyway, how much should Gary pay, Club? First, oh, sorry about that. First, I'll put in $1 for that. First person to call out something between 1 and 5.
$1.
Thanks, Kyle.
Wow, there's just way too much goodwill today. All right. Inadvertently turned the radio on, and that made some noise. So, how much should I be fined?
$5.
Wow, feeling the love there.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice to know that our club is so predictable. I will gladly pay. So with that, though, we got limited time. So let's just go into Happy Bucks. Who's happy?
I'm gonna put in 10 happy bucks because I get to go back and relive all of your singing for my birthday, and also for a fabulous birthday celebration that Eileen put together for me on the Saturday before my birthday. So it was a wonderful birthday week. So 10 happy bucks. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to give 5 happy bucks to thank Gary for, we had lateral interviews yesterday and Gary came to be a part of that. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. It was a great candidate too.
Chief Dyer,
Yes, sir.
are you gonna be kind enough to not write me a ticket? I assume you heard my car's fasten your seatbelt warning.
Well, I did, and
I have now.
Yeah, I'm sure that
I
you'll
have now
return the
fastened my seatbelt.
I see it on now, so I'll let you slide.
All right. I was in the Lake Stevens Community Park at the time, so I wasn't out on an actual road.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Who else is happy?
I'll go ahead and be $40 happy because it is my 40th high school class reunion this summer. I just got the schedule of events. Who would have thought I would have made it this far 40 years ago?
Sweet.
Well, I'm happy we're flying home next week so I can restart the moss growing between my toes. It is dried up and blown away for now, but it'll come back.
Who else is happy?
I'll do a happy $5. So last Sunday, I developed a vertigo. And if anybody's ever had that, that's the worst. And so I'm still experiencing a little bit of it, but it's taken me a while. But man, I tell you what, I'm paying $5 because I'm glad I'm on the other side of it. And
hey,
I've been not watching David Johnson's video to make sure that I'm okay.
Hey, Ken, seriously, have you had someone look in your ears and see if there's something in there or major wax buildup? Or
yeah, I'm getting an MRI this week, and
okay,
and I've got the whole thing going on. Yes.
Yeah, the ears
I've
are.
heard
The
the side
ears are.
effect is Moderna vaccine.
It doesn't have anything to do with the vaccine.
So if we all jump up and down, will we watch you hurl?
Yes, you don't want to see that. But what caused it is dehydration. After working out on Sunday, I went for about a 30-mile bike ride, and I had done a whole bunch of other stuff prior to that. So don't get dehydrated is the bottom line.
Right.
I'm going to give 5 happy bucks because this week we finally have everyone back on campus, K through 12, which is awesome. To have everyone back on campus, and then another 5 happy bucks. I got to take my daughter golfing for the first time. She'll be 4 here in May, and that was quite an experience, but it was a great time.
What was the farthest she hit a ball?
Probably about a foot in front of her, and she instead of just swinging this way, she kind of inched it this way. And then when she hit it, she pick it up and throw it. Like, Daddy, look, I did it. And so it was a good time.
Where'd you go?
We just went to the Snohomish Valley Golf Range right there.
Yeah.
Went to as far as corner as we could to get away from people just in case.
Yeah, right.
I have a happy 5. I went and played up at Avalon, and I probably played just as well as your daughter. Some of the holes were like 10 feet, 10 feet, 10 feet. So yeah, I shot a 6 on the 9. So, anyhow,
Ron has $5 happy dollars. He's got new tires on his riding lawnmower, and so we're going to give it a try today, hoping that it continues to be dry and we can get the lawn mowed today.
Awesome.
I'm going to give 5 happy bucks because I've been having some super unusual dreams for me. And I thought of this because you mentioned golf. And these dreams have been golf dreams. And I've been out playing on these courses and playing super well. Last night in my dream, I don't know what course it was, but I birdied 2 holes in a row that were really hard holes. So I'm never going to a golf course again. I'm just going to sleep.
that's what I do.
Okay, are we good?
It's right about 8 o'clock, so thank you, everyone.
All right, Gary, I've made you co-host, and Kyle, I'm going to hand it over to you to introduce your classmate from Marysville Pilchuck Tomahawk High School.
Yeah, Gary and I had a couple classes in high school, not a whole ton. But Gary and I went to Marysville Pilchuck, graduated together, and then Gary actually went off to UW. I went to Washington State, but he decided to go to UW. It's okay. From there, he ended up, I think he ended up traveling abroad, and he ended up doing some study abroad. And then from there, and I'm just going off of some other things that I got from his our LinkedIn pages that we have together. But I know that he has a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He has a wife and a daughter, and he started his own company working correct me if I'm wrong, Gary, I'm sure you will, but it's called Platforma, which is to kind of help get those untapped potentials in those under-civilized communities throughout the world. And I know you've been in, it looked like at least 25 plus different countries trying to do some work and throughout that. So yeah, so this is Gary, and Gary, I think we're all looking forward to hearing from you today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Kyle. And thanks to all you guys for the opportunity and your time. I know time is a precious commodity, so thank you all for lending me a bit of yours. And thanks to Kyle for initiating this, and to Ken for kind of the can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Kyle froze on my screen here.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay,
Yep.
good. I was gonna say, the moment I start talking, we're gonna freeze up. Anyway, thank you, Ken, for the formal introduction, and thanks for all the work that you guys do. You know, it's nice. I always feel a lot of gratitude to be in the same, albeit virtual at this point, the same room as people who have a similar vision for leaving this place better than we found it. So thanks for all the work that you guys do at the club, and for this invitation. So I'm excited to share with you. As Kyle said, and Ken as well, I am a graduate of Marysville Pilchuck High School, and I gotta say, seeing some of those background images of the Pacific Northwest with the sun out makes me miss home. Although I know those are fake because it's still April and we don't really get sun up there until June or July. So. But anyway, I'm going to share my screen here with you guys, and I'll get rolling on the presentation. As Kyle mentioned, I founded an organization called Platforma Impact, and Plataforma is the Spanish and Portuguese way of saying platform. And please let me know if you can see the screen here. And the reason that we started this organization was to really prepare low-income youth for the job market. And through a lot of my travels, you know, I lived in gosh, I lived in Mexico, I lived in Colombia, I lived in Brazil. I worked for Habitat for Humanity for a while. I facilitated what are called impact investing loans to low-income women entrepreneurs. So I got to see kind of a plethora of business structures and models. And this organization is sort of my brainchild for how we can generate as much positive social impact for people who are really deserving of opportunity. And the reason is because of exactly this. You know, opportunity is not as universal as talent. Talent is universal, but opportunity is not. And so we want to change that. We want to change the latter by harnessing the former. You know, opportunity is not everywhere. Talent is. So let's find those talented people and give them the opportunity. So what is it exactly that we do? We train low-income youth for a job in the IT market. Why IT? Why information technology? Why tech? The first reason is that technology is ubiquitous. I mean, it touches really every aspect of our life, and there's a ton of opportunity in the job market. So that first statistic that you see there, that Latin America has the largest skills gap in the world, even though Latin America is the region with the largest skills gap, it is a global phenomenon. Technology moves so quickly that we're having a hard time keeping up with the skills that are required to service the needs of the sector. So that's the first, is that tech is really ubiquitous, touches every aspect of our lives. And the second is the kind of lower barriers to entry, right? So I'm sure a lot of us remember that, you know, how much the first computer costs and how much the first cell phone costs and how much more computing power we have in these little cell phones that we have in our pockets now, which are, you know, significantly less than when they first came out. I remember, you know, even though I was very little, those first car phones, those big brick car phones, right? And I don't even remember how much they cost, but I would imagine it was a lot more than a cell phone nowadays. So undoubtedly, you know, it's a very exciting time to be alive. In technology, I mean, look at what we're doing right now. It's changed the way that we work. It's changed the way that we socialize, and the speed of the development of technology is not slowing down. And in fact, it's doing quite the opposite, right? It's speeding up. And so at this kind of moment in history, we're provided this window of opportunity to affect real change and meaningful change for people who have historically been afforded very little opportunity. And what do I mean by that? I mean that within a society that's becoming more technologically driven, there's a widening deficit when it comes to the availability of skills needed. And it's really changing paradigms in education as well. So some of the world's biggest companies, Google, Apple, you know, they've come out in the last few years and said, look, we don't even care if our employees have college degrees anymore. That's not a prerequisite anymore. Instead, we just want you to have the skills, because those skills are in such high demand and there's such a deficit of those skills. So these, you know, they're bypassing traditional education, and these companies internally are starting to offer programs that are encouraged to develop these in-demand tech skills that students may not be learning in school. And so the other thing is the lower barriers to entry, right? So the fact that technology is becoming increasingly cheaper. There's a very interesting factoid that I like to bring up, that the cell phone in your pocket today has more computing power than the Apollo 13 mission, than the space shuttle, right? So, and you know, when the first personal computer came out, it was about $3,000. Today, you can get a laptop for $100. So with that exponential growth in technology, the lower barriers to entry, there's again this tremendous opportunity to build talent within communities that have traditionally had no opportunity. And there's a lot of these communities, and this is one of the pictures that you see here. This is the biggest, what they call in Brazil, favela, or urban slum on the planet. And 1 in 4 people just in Latin America live in one of these communities. So specifically, what do? We train people, young people from these types of communities with specialized skills. This is particularly computer programming. So we provide the technical training. We also provide social support, you know, psychological support, and we provide mentorship, professional mentorship. And we develop talent for the IT market. And as a result of training people who are hungry for opportunity, who are really looking at trying to get into the job market, we generate what's called economic mobility. And that's really important because, you know, these are not handouts, these are hand ups. Plataforma means platform. in Portuguese and Spanish. And that's really at the heart of what we do. We're not here to lower the elevator to come down and get you. We're a platform that you can build yourself from, but you got to pull yourself up onto this platform first. We don't have unlimited resources, but if you show your dedication and your commitment to bettering your life, we're here to help facilitate that process. So we have one training center. We're a young organization. We've only been around for about a year, but we're serving 60 students from 7 different favela communities, and there's some really inspiring stories I'll share with you in just a bit here. But you know, since we've kind of put this flag up that we're a technology training center, we've got people coming from really all across the city of Rio de Janeiro, from multiple favelas that are coming to train and learn tech skills with us. So specifically, how does it work? The first thing, we kind of have like 2 tiers, okay? So we have a training institute, and then we have a software development company. And the training institute is particularly for education. The software development company is so that they can start to learn and get experience in a professional setting. So the training institute is located in the biggest favela in the picture that I just showed you guys. And we provide education free of cost. You know, one of these barriers to entry thing is a lot of people don't have access to the university that come from these communities because, you know, their families are making $200 a month. It's really kind of outside of their economic grasp. So, but we're also cognizant of the fact that people have to work, right? People have to work and people have to feed their families and stuff. So for those students that show tremendous promise and potential and commitment after a period of time, we are even offering full scholarship for people to come and study with us. The reason is we don't want to lose high potential students because the more immediate needs that they have. So we provide a scholarship so they can dedicate themselves 100% to Platforma. The other thing is an open source curriculum. What does that mean? That means that we don't have a traditional sort of education model. There's not one single professor that goes through a curriculum. Instead, what we've done is gathered a lot of open source material from organizations like Khan Academy, Udacity, Coursera, these online education portals that provide classes for free. And we've organized these classes into a curriculum. And that decentralized structure that I just alluded to means that the students don't come in and learn from a professor. Instead, they're placed on teams because that mimics how they're going to be working in the real world. So a student will come in, the student is placed on a team of 5 to 10 students that are more or less at a similar skill level, and they work together to progress through that course structure. And each one of those teams has what we call a Jedi, a facilitator. We do kind of have a head curriculum director who serves as kind of our main professor. He's Yoda. And then below him are those scholarship students, which we call Jedis, who are all sort of the facilitators of each one of those teams. Another important aspect of this is the fact that mathematics and also English are integrated into the structure. You cannot learn computer programming without learning mathematics. And a lot of our students are coming in without a high school education. And so some of them have to start, you know, kind of back in elementary math, and that's okay. You know, we don't have a threshold for the abilities that you're supposed to bring to the course. The only thing that we ask is that you show your dedication and commitment and you don't quit. And then English as well. You know, if they're going to be working in an international marketplace, they're going to need to know English, and really a lot of the coding languages that you learn for computer programming is in English as well. And so they focus on specialized skills, and they move through that curriculum by demonstrating mastery over those subjects. So how long does the curriculum last? Well, it always depends on the students, right? We have a structure, and we're cognizant of the fact that everybody has different responsibilities and needs and time that they can dedicate to the course. The only thing that we ask is that you don't quit. So if you are dedicating yourself full time to this, between 6 and 9 months, most people take about a year, but if it takes 2 or 3 years, hey, that's okay, you know, as long as you keep going. So the second part of this is the software development company. And this is intended to be a for-profit entity, as to where Platforma Impact, the education entity, is the nonprofit. And this part of the organization has yet to be realized, though we're building it now. And the reason we have this nonprofit and hybrid and for-profit structure is so that we can have kind of a hybrid entity that feeds off of itself. And hopefully in the future, we will not have to depend on donations to keep this thing going, but we need to get to that point first. So the software development part of this is, once a student graduates from that program, they go into an internship. And that internship, they're afforded work with real projects, right? They're paid a competitive hourly rate. They have IT professionals that we've collected from the sector, both in Brazil and also here in the United States, that provide guidance and direction over their projects. We plan to source the majority of our projects from here in the United States and also in Canada, and then outsource them to our engineers in Brazil from the favelas, and really teach them, the kind of the full cycle of working with a client and delivering a development product. So that's intended to be, kind of the last leg of this, and it serves as an opportunity for them to gain that real world experience. And our hope is that we can build this company with those engineers, and they want to stick with us. If not, they go off and they get another job, and hey, that's a great problem to have, because we've propelled these people out of the communities that they live in, and they've got new opportunities. So what does that look like in terms of social impact? Well, like I said earlier, the average salary for somebody living in a favela, a slum, is about $200 a month in the area that we operate. The blue line that you see there, the red line is what somebody from a favela, low skills position can expect to earn over their lifetime. And the y-axis there is in Brazilian real. It's not in USD. Brazilian real is about 5 to 1. Okay, so 5 Brazilian reals to 1 USD. So it's about $200 a month, that red line, and that's going to be what they're going to end up earning over the course of their life. So an entry-level engineer in Brazil earns about 5 times that, right? So just to get them to a point where they can get hired on as an entry-level computer programmer in Brazil is already going to earn them 5 times as much as the minimum wage. And the average level for a software engineer in the US is about $100K a year. So, exponentially much more earning power there. So, again, going back to the kind of socioeconomic mobility here, and what we're really after is something that's called multi-generational impact, meaning somebody's acquired the skills that it's in high demand. They're probably not going to be living in the favela anymore. They're going to move out, and they're going to have their children, their families outside of those communities. Those children and those families are going to benefit directly from the skills that this person has acquired through our program. Hopefully their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren. So we've really changed the trajectory of these people's lives by providing them a skill set that's in high demand, where they can really generate a whole lot of earning power from. This is Volgran. Volgran was one of our very first students, and he's one that has become very, very close to my heart. He is from a favela community that's about an hour away from where we operate in Rio de Janeiro. And he, I think he found us on Instagram. Volgran is a kid that you can't stop him. He's got a very heavy background. He comes from Brazil's Northeast, which is one of the poorest regions in the country. His father was murdered at 16. He lost his mother to drugs. He's been on his own since he was a young man. But this kid taught himself English through Duolingo. He speaks English fluently. He studied advanced mathematics. He just is one of these guys you can't stop, but he comes from a very difficult background in a very hard neighborhood. But his desire to improve his life is really what led him to us. So despite the 1 hour plus commute each way, Volgran would come, and start training with us. But he started to miss class, and I started to ask. I said, Volgran, what's going on? Why are you missing class? And he says, I'm working as a mechanics assistant 6 days a week. He was making about $150 a month, 10 hours a day. So he would get up extra early to go and work at his mechanic job so that he could come and study with us. And we saw his potential, we saw his commitment, and we saw his struggle. And he was our very first scholarship recipient. And so he has really been kind of a shining star. He's rising as a Jedi. And within a year, he hopefully will be earning at least 5 times the minimum wage, which will go to reshape his future. So many of you guys are probably wondering, how did I end up in a favela in Brazil? How did this all happen? You know, and I don't blame you. Kyle said, you know, I went to the University of Washington. Kyle, I'm not sure which year you graduated, but we graduated from MP in 2005. And we, let's see, you know, I mean, I grew up in Marysville. I grew up a lot with a family and out on the reservation in Tulalip. And I was always just fascinated with cultures outside of my own. And I think growing up with Hispanic families doing construction as a young man, growing out on the reservation, it just was like, wow, the world is really big and I got to get out there and see it. So graduated from the University of Washington in 2009, which was kind of the height of the crisis, right? It was a bad time to be going into the job market. And, you know, instead of going back and living on mom and dad's couch or going back into construction, I said, you know what, I'm going to hit the road. So I moved to Mexico with a one-way ticket and a backpack and a passport. And gosh, I worked as a waiter, I worked as a bartender, I worked as an English professor, as a translator. I did a bunch of stuff. But you know, giving back was always in my blood. You know, for some reason I just was attracted. So that's how I ended up working for Habitat for Humanity. I wanted to use those construction skills that I developed as a young man to be able to give back. So lived in Mexico for a while, ventured through Central America, built some schools in Colombia, and then ended up down in Rio. And all the while, you know, getting my Spanish better. And Brazil was always a place that kind of pulled on my heart. So I answered that calling and went down there. And, you know, I think it's, as Steve Jobs would say, it's easy to connect the dots in hindsight. But I ended up in this favela and I lived there for over a year and really fell in love with the community and the people. And that picture that you see on the left there, you see how massive that place is. 150,000 people is the estimate. And, you know, you look at it from afar and you look at that picture and you're like, you know, geez, you know, what conditions to live in.
He froze. Oh, go ahead, Gary. You froze for a sec.
Here in the favela and helping people learn English. You know, I was seeing a lot of potential, but you know, I said, look, I gotta do something beyond what I'm doing now. I gotta leverage the opportunities that I've been given in my life a little bit more. So I came back to the United States, did a master's degree in the San Francisco Bay Area, and that propelled me into what's called impact investing. So my idea was to facilitate large amounts of capital to people who were deserving and trying to work hard to really improve their lives, all the while maintaining contact with the little nonprofit organization that I had been working with in the favela. So the picture on the right there is that idea of going back and helping 5 years later, knocking on my mind's door and thinking, what can I do to really help these people? So technology was one of these things that, you know, continued to knock at my mind's door as well. And those little Chromebooks right there, $200 each. I think I bought 12 of them, brought them down to this favela in late 2019, 2020, the pandemic hit. And we really got up off the ground in September of this last year. But in about 7 months, we've made tremendous progress. And we've got over 60 students now. And they're all kicking butt. So very proud of that. I'm going to show you a quick video that kind of highlights our programs and allows you to see a little bit of what's really going on down in the favela there. So let's see if this will play here.
You don't have any sound on it, but video's playing.
No sound? No? Dang. Okay. How do we resolve that? Well, you know what? I think instead of messing with the sound here, I'm just going to show you the video. Much of what I've talked about is explained here in the video, but I think the most important thing here is for you guys to see kind of what it's like there in that community.
People hungry for opportunity in communities like this, and then connect them to a job market hungry for talent.
Fala galera, meu nome é Lucas, eu tenho 24 anos, sou professor de informática da plataforma. Olá, meu nome é Glauber, tenho 25 anos, sou um dos professores aqui da plataforma. Olá, gente, boa tarde. Meu nome é Rodrigo Lopes e eu tenho 26 anos e estudo aqui na plataforma PACT. Eu quero aprender desenvolvimento, softwares, programas e inclusive web também, porque eu quero misturar os dois. E informática é muito importante para o mercado de trabalho no momento, é um mercado em expansão e a gente vê muito potencial em todos os alunos, porém algumas vezes a gente não tem tanta oportunidade. E aí fica um pouquinho mais difícil.
Estamos aqui na plataforma para abrir as portas para as pessoas que às vezes não têm uma oportunidade. Nós estamos aqui para ajudar essas pessoas a entrarem no mercado de trabalho, a serem bons profissionais e a partir de então ter um futuro brilhante pela frente.
A plataforma veio basicamente do céu assim e apareceu na minha vida. Eu estou muito feliz. The information technology sector is one of the fastest growing and highest paying. For people who live in communities like this, a career in IT could mean a drastic improvement in their lives. And I was like sad because it's really hard to find something good to study, especially IT, and that's not too cheap as you think. Well, now I have a chance, I have a good chance to develop myself with IT, and this is what I like. This is what I want. So I'm gonna do this. The thing I need right now is some opportunity for someone to help me, and they are here to help me, and I can do it. And also, I'm gonna keep doing it because it's what I want. So if you're looking for some place to study IT and you have no good conditions, you can come to us, and we're gonna help you, and you're gonna help us. So let's keep studying IT because it's the future, and I can promise you, it is the future.
So sorry about the audio, guys. I'll send it to Ken, and Ken can pass on the video to you guys. But anyway, yeah, that's what we do. It's too bad you couldn't hear the audio because the last bit of that is Wolfgang speaking in English and talking about how how difficult it was, and that now he has a chance. And that quote that's up there earlier, for the first time I have people that believe in me, is something that we hear often from our students. So it's really, really inspiring, and it keeps us going. So thank you guys for your attention. Thank you for your time. And thanks for all that you do at the club as well. So I'll stop sharing now and open it up for Q&A.
Yeah, Gary, we did get the last little bit of the audio, at least I did, and I hope everybody else did. And we heard.
Yeah, I think it's because I had the earphones in, so when I took them out, I think you guys were able to hear.
So Gary, do you live in Brazil?
So I split my time between Brazil and Las Vegas now. So parents moved down here from Seattle. I needed some more sunshine. I lived in the San Francisco Bay Area for about 10 years and came out here about the same time that I launched Platforma.
Joyce, you need to unmute if you're going to ask a question.
I was so engrossed with what he was saying that I forgot to unmute. I just wanted to say that I cannot tell you how important what you're doing and what you said and how you go about things. I'm 93 years old, and I've been through a lot, and I've known a lot of people, a lot of things, but I have searched for, in our world today, we need young people like you. That's where our hope is. And that's, I can't tell you how rewarding it was to listen to you. Now, if you just had a plan for senior citizens, that would be great. Anyway, this is something that has been missing in my life. I cannot keep up with the technology. And it is so important. It's going so fast that I think it's the answer to a lot of things if all of us look at what we can do as an individual. We all have talents, we all have skills. Let's use them to make a better world. So I thank you very much for this program, and I certainly want to contribute to it, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you very much. Beautiful words.
So, first of all, really quick, bravo on the internship. IT, it's all about getting your foot in the door, so and less about the college degree. So I think that's excellent. Do you have any plans as you expand this out to move outside of software engineer and maybe get into like sysadmin, hardware sides, networking, anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we haven't specifically defined what our kind of core capacities will be. I think a lot of what we're looking at now is what's called staff augmentation. So jumping onto other development teams from larger companies so that they can essentially be mentors for our students. But yeah, software development projects, app development as well. Another growing part of this sector is user experience design, which is much more artistically focused. So we have a lot of students who, when they create their programs, you can just see the artist coming out through them. So we want to be able to harness that as well.
Yeah, that's quite a program you put together and provided a lot of opportunity for those people down there. And it's just incredible, the whole high-tech stuff that you're doing. That's awesome. I think one thing I noticed just in the pictures, it looks like they need some code enforcement or some building codes because it looks like a little help there. Maybe that's something you could branch into. Anyhow, thanks a lot. You're wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I got to say, Chris, one of the reasons, kind of the epiphany that came to start this was, when you're down in those communities, those entire cities, essentially 150,000 people, were built in the absence of any engineers or any architects or anything. But it all works. It's not pretty, but it works. Yeah. And so I remember, taking a shower in my Brazilian family's house, and looking down at the ground. And I make this comment all the time. In the favela, you don't find 90-degree angles. Everything is just kind of haphazardly and mismatched, But it really, for me, it's like it highlights the creativity and the resourcefulness of these people. So if the sector needs outside of the box creative thinkers, what better people to do that than these guys who
Right.
by virtue of living circumstances have to be creative problem solvers, right?
Right. Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks for doing what you do. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Do you have plans to move outside just the Brazil area, so like other areas in Central America as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great question, Kyle. Thanks for bringing it up. Yeah, starting in Brazil was one because of my personal connection to that community, but also because of the favorable exchange rate. I mean, the exchange rate is so much in the dollar's favor right now that Brazil for me is kind of lowest hanging fruit, right? We can really maximize $5,000-$10,000 and put a couple people through the program full time, right? That would be very difficult to do here in the United States. So I'd like to take it across Latin America and eventually here in the US as well. I know a lot of communities here at home could use a similar program. So for now, proving the concept in a place where we can make our dollar go as far as possible, and then being able to scale that same concept to other communities is the goal.
Any other questions for Gary? Gary, it's just amazing what you've done to find a niche for this technological innovation and education and cultivating untapped talent in the favelas. That's unbelievable. I just want to echo what Joyce said. It is just really inspiring. I mean, to hear how you've done this and how you've innovated and included young people in that innovation. I just think that's amazing. And so yeah, please send me the video because I'd like to share that with the club, and also send me ways that we can contribute to your organization at Platforma.
Okay, sounds good.
Gary, another suggestion is reach out to Rotary clubs in Rio de Janeiro and see if they would be willing to help provide foundation money for you and they can reach out to clubs all over the world to help out.
Okay. Okay, Gary. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know about that Rotary Club in Rio. That's
Yeah, there should be several down there, and all of them have international club services that reach out beyond their borders, just like we do.
Okay.
And so sometimes one club will start something and everyone will join in. There'll be 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 Rotary clubs that respond.
Okay, will do. Thank you, Gary.
And also, Gary, on behalf of your appearance today and your presentation, we'll make a $25 donation to the Dolly Parton Imagination Library for children so that they can receive books and work on their literacy skills. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Perfect.
Any other-
thank you guys. I hope you guys will continue to follow our progress as well. We've got big plans, so continue to watch us, please.
Well, with you leading the helm, I'm pretty sure that it's going to grow and get bigger. You're pretty impressive, Gary. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thanks
Come
a lot,
back
you guys.
often if you want.
Thank you very much.
So with that, I'm going to end our meeting this morning. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye, Gary. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Well, I got the message, Lance, to stay on. And so did Chris, apparently. You're muted.
There we go.
Hello.
So Gary and Eileen must not have saw it, but let's have a quick conversation. So Doug Warren is texting me back and forth. They're having a food bank board meeting right now. And they're wondering about our commitment and if we could, if we are ready to write the check. I know it may not come at a good time, Chris, because but I know we've been wanting to get it off our books as well. And I knew there was some complication around, we wanted it to be dedicated to something.
We wanted a dedication plaque, I think, or something like that.
Okay. So I know initially we talked about the walk-in fridge, and Doug's saying the total cost of the walk-in fridge is $44K. And our commitment, was it 15 or 16, Chris?
15.
15.
15.
He says he's showing on his budget that it was 16, but I'll clarify that with him.
Okay.
And then, are you okay with committing the 15,000 towards the walk-in fridge? What he's saying is they're going to do a walk, donors walk, listing the major donors, and that's where the Rotary Club can have recognition. It sounds like a sidewalk as you're coming into the building or something. And I asked if we could have a little plaque put on the actual walk-in freezer. So what do you guys think?
That's kind of what we talked about in our board meeting. Yes, Lance.
Yeah.
A little nameplate on the freezer.
Right.
Yeah.
Or fridge.
And then what's the deal with the sidewalk then? We'd have an emblem in the sidewalk or what?
Yeah, the Rotary Club would be recognized as a major donor of the whole project as well.
Okay, that's cool.
So are we good to write the check? Can I tell him?
I think we're gonna have to pull some funds out of somewhere to do that. So we'll have to kind of take a look at that. I'll talk to, I guess, Lori or somebody to figure out. It might take us a couple of weeks to pull money out of an account somewhere to cover that, plus the scholarships and all that. I'll take a look at that and we'll get that. When do they need that? I guess sooner than later. They're gonna buy the freezer when?
I think he's just trying to get all of the commitments in. So if I tell him a couple of weeks, I think he'll be fine with that.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect.
One of his texts was me. I told him I was on the Rotary meeting, and he says, "Write the check while you're there."
Sounds like Doug.
Add a few zeros to it while you're at it.
Yeah.
All right,
just
I'll
leave
let
it
him
open.
know. I'll let him know within a couple of weeks then. Thanks.
Yeah, that sounds good. Perfect.
All right.
Thanks,
guys.
I got one thing that has nothing to do with anything but wood. So I have this big silver leaf birch that I cut down about a year ago. It's probably, I don't know, 20 inches across, and it has a great big burrow on it. And it's about